Darren Steen here from MercolaPeakFitness.com talking to you today about eating for fat loss, now or during the holidays, which are coming upon us quickly. 4 important areas: higher quality foods, smaller more often, counting calories yes or no, and pre and post workout meals. All right, higher quality foods seems to be common sense, but what is not, and that is eating Twinkies versus boneless, skinless chicken and broccoli. We know the difference. All right, but what's not common sense is eating foods that are fat-free or not, or eating foods that are sugar-free or not. Man made those foods, and I'm telling you what, they're full of chemicals and preservatives, and they're putting something in there from the fat they're taking out and the sugar they're taking out, and you want to stay away from that stuff. Just eat real food. If it rots, it's good for you. If it's made in a plant, stay away. If it is made, comes from a plant, eat it. Those are some really good little simple mottos to keep in mind when you're making your food choices. So it's not, higher quality food is very important. Should we pay extra for organic foods? Maybe sometimes, not 100%, but absolutely. The food at the grocery stores is prepared for the masses, and it's shipped all across the country, and they have one thing in mind, and that is making sure that food lasts as long as possible on the shelf. There's an old saying, the longer the shelf life of the food, the shorter your shelf life. Okay, so we want to get food that rots really quick. Ideally, we want to go to a local farmer's market and get our food from local produce farmers that are doing the right thing by raising the meat and the veggies and the vegetables. So that's a really good idea for you to get higher quality foods that is not full of preservatives and chemicals. The second point is smaller meals more often. This is really very hard for a lot of people to grasp. And the bottom line is you have to eat. If you want to reach your true peak fitness fat loss potential, you need to eat small meals often with protein and carbs combined together every 3 to 4 hours. Now I realize everyone's got a different starting point on their metabolism. Everyone's got a genetically given metabolism that's given to them, but you can speed it up or slow it down. You got to decide if yours is slow, medium, or fast to decide how many carbohydrates you're eating. Now when I say protein and carbs combined together, carbohydrates, we're talking fibrous vegetables, green beans, salads, apples, real or stuff that is going to perish, stuff that's not preserved. We're not talking about starchy carbs. Okay, we'll talk about those later. So protein and carbs together every time you eat. Very small amount of protein. It's pretty simple. If you're 130 pound or less, let's go around 20 grams of protein in each meal. And if you're 150 pounds, let's go up to about 30. If you're more than that, 180, let's go up to 35 or 40 grams of protein per meal. Now, how do you figure out how often to eat or how fast your metabolism is? If every time you go to eat every 4 hours, if your hunger level is 1 on a scale of 1 to 5, very low, that means your metabolism is slow. As soon as you start doing things to boost your metabolism, like eating small meals often, doing some cardiovascular exercise, working out with weights, you'll start to feel a hunger level climb up. Eating every 3.5 hours, when that hunger level gets to a 3 or a 4 on a scale of 1 to 5, that means your metabolism is running faster and faster, and that's a great thing. You want higher hunger levels. You want to be very hungry, a level 4 or 5, 3 hours after you eat that meal. That's a sign that your metabolism is boosted up very quickly. Now, meal timing is very important around wake-up time, bedtime, and workout time. You need to eat every 3.5 hours. You should eat about an hour to an hour and a half after you wake up in the morning. It should be very small, and it should have protein and carbohydrates together, and then you eat about every 3 hours after that, okay? Now, you need to make sure that if you're working out intensely and your hunger levels are high, your metabolism is high because your hunger levels are 4 to 5, which you'll be able to start to understand that now, you need to make sure that you eat before you go to bed. If you're eating a typical dinner at 6 o'clock and you keep it nice and small with a protein and a carb together and make it nice and small and eat slow, and then you're hungry 3.5 hours later at 10 o'clock, your fat loss program is going to go better if you eat a small protein snack before you go to bed. So the timing of those meals is very important, and we'll talk about the timing of the meal sandwich around the workout time here at the end. Now I want to talk about counting calories, yes or no. I don't like to count calories during the day. I don't advocate it to my clients. This is very simple. You do need to start to understand when you look at a plate of food, you do need to understand what is 30 grams of protein, what is 20 grams of protein, what is an average sized chicken breast, how much does it weigh. So you do need to study calories for the first week or two. It's pretty simple. On the back of a lot of ingredients, you can look and it will tell you. Or you can Google search calories and you can start to figure out how many grams of protein are in a meal that you eat, and you can figure out how many grams of carbs are in a portion of carbs that you eat. Now, non-fibrous vegetables and green beans and salads are pretty much free calories. You don't really have to be concerned about those calories. You can eat almost as much of those as you want. You do need to be concerned about starchy carbs and those calories. Those are the carbs that get us fat if we're not boosting our metabolism up. Low glycemic choices are good choices like oatmeal, brown rice, wild rice, yams, red potatoes, sweet potatoes, whole wheat pasta, stuff that's absorbed slow. Starchy carbs are broken down by your body and turned into glucose and into blood sugar. And that's what your muscles, your engine uses when you perform and when you exercise and when you get aggressive. So you do need starchy carbs, but the key is not very often and only 2 or 3 times a week. You cycle those starchy carbs in small amounts in the middle of the day, okay? And particularly right around an intense workout. Don't eat your starchy carbs in the morning, first meal, or last meal. Okay, so you do need starchy carbs, not that many of them, and only on the days that you train intensely with the weights. It's called carb cycling. It's very important, and I don't have enough time in here to get into how many grams of carbs you need to eat because it's different all across the board. If your metabolism is really slow, not that many, maybe 100 to 150 grams per day. If your metabolism is medium, maybe 200. If you're an ectomorph and you're exercising intensely and your metabolism is screaming high, maybe up to 300 to 350 or 400 grams of carbs, starchy carbs per day, only on days that you exercise intensely. Okay, so there's a little bit about calorie counting. I don't like counting calories because it's cumbersome, it's confusing. You don't need to count calories for the day, but you do need to start understanding how many calories, how many grams of protein and carbs are in a portion on a plate when you eat it. It's not that difficult. I will do next week, I'll do a video on how you figure out how many grams of protein and carbs in a meal. So you don't count the calories for the day, you count it per meal. After the first week or two, you don't need to count calories anymore. That's the really cool thing about this concept. It's very simple, and don't underestimate the value of this fitness, nutrition, fitness information that I'm giving you because of its simplicity. And that's, a lot of people have paralysis by analysis when they try to get too much technical information. It's not that in-depth, trust me, I'm not that smart. And my 500 clients that have graduated from our Fat Loss Lifestyle program in our private facility here will absolutely agree. We have people dropping 4, 5, 6 inches off the waist with 2 hours of exercise per week in 6 weeks. I just had a guy today, elated, 5 1/4 inches off his waist, working out 2 hours a week, 2 1-hour workouts, but it's the nutrition, it's the eating for fat loss like we're talking about right now. So your pre and post workout meal are very important. When you do resistance training, if your metabolism is very fast because your hunger levels are really high, you need to eat about a half hour before, very light, maybe a protein shake and a half a banana, something that's absorbed pretty fast so it doesn't sit in your tummy. After that intense workout, you need to eat something very easily digested because the blood is not readily available to the digestive tract like it normally is because it's in your muscles that you just worked. So chicken breast in a salad is just going to sit there and you're going to miss the 1 hour window of opportunity after that intense workout to shuttle in the nutrients and the glycogen and the amino acids to help repair back the tissues that you broke down while you were working out. So if your metabolism is slow, then maybe you wait a half hour to 60 minutes, maybe a full 60 minutes when you're first starting out exercising and your hunger levels are 1 all the time. Wait a full hour and then throw in that quickly absorbed meal like we talked about before. And then you just get right back to the small meals often. Remember, the intense weight training session is right, that's where you should put a couple meals before and a couple meals after of the starchy carbs. Okay, the pre and post workout meal for the cardio session. You need to schedule your cardio session first thing in the morning because it burns more fat and you get it done. Okay? And try to do it in the fasted state, meaning you haven't eaten since the night before. If your metabolism is running real fast, throw in a little bit of protein, maybe a few egg whites, something like that in the morning before. And then after the cardio, wait 1 hour before you throw in a post-workout meal that's whole food, not like the resistance workout, okay, that's fast absorbed. So there you go. There's our 4 areas that are very important for you to understand for eating for fat loss anytime or for holidays. You absolutely do have the power to change. Now go make it happen.